everybody. Welcome to the May Contain Action Podcast, Season 3, Episode 34. Oh, no. What just happened? Oh, hold on. Restarting? Got it? All right, well, I'm going to start it again. My mic unplugged there for a second.
Oh, you know, worries.
One more time. All right, there we go. Welcome to Episode 34 of Season 3 of the May Contain Action Podcast, your new favorite show discussing movies and the role they play in our lives. I am Trevor, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Paul. Hey,
It's
Paul.
me.
He's here.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going, man?
So good, but not as good as it's going for you.
You want me to do my updates first?
Oh, I just kind of figured, yeah, like
I'm a papa.
Yeah.
I am a father. We took a lot of you may have noticed we took a week off, 1 week only.
One whole week.
But on September 28th, 4 days after his due date, Madsen Robert May was born.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
And you I held him, and you know what the first thing I said?
What's that?
I looked down and I looked up at Kate and I said, "Hey, what do you think the first round slot money is going to be in 2040?" She goes, "Do not start with that." I'm like, "I'm just kidding. I knew that would be the funny." But no, he's amazing. He's healthy. He's happy. He was, when he was born, he literally just like immediately, like, it was almost like he was like, "Wait." He was like, looked around. I was like, "Wait, this looks, there's like air. There's no lick. Where am I?" And and then he just kind of barked 3 times, gave us a little like, "Ah, ah, ah," and then just sat, like, was chilling. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, thank God."
Dude.
Thank God.
Oh my gosh.
And he's big. He has full size adult hands that are just shrunk down a little bit. But it is
That's
crazy.
terrifying.
His hands are it's insane. My mom was holding him today and was like,
Mhm.
what is happening here? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's freaky, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's like, yeah, he's got like the wrinkles on the knuckles and like his fingernails are like perfect. I'm like, he's like a hand model. It's crazy. Um, yeah, he's Kate's doing really well. She
Awesome.
recovered for a few days. I was in butler mode for a while.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Which is, I kind of still am. I have actually, this is something that I'm going to recommend to anyone out there, and I'm so excited. This is the first time I get to do this, but I'm going to say this as much as I can.
Hmm.
If you guys want to learn to sleep a little bit, this is crazy.
Okay.
Now I know that there's a little bit of a stigma. So Kate found that like co-sleeping worked really well, especially with like we have a king size bed. There's space between us.
Mhm.
There's always a lot of space because I'm a big guy,
Yeah.
and just kind of stripping the sheet. She can sleep with one blanket too. I need a weighted blanket and stuff. So like she's like, "Hey, I wanna like co-sleep. I wanna have him here on the bed, but I want there to be one blanket around me, and I want there to be no blankets, right? Because obviously that's the danger. You don't want them
Oh,
to,
sure. Yes.
that usually they're like, "Hey, be careful here," but people do it. Like, no one recommends it, but everyone does it because it works well.
Yeah.
They get really
Sure.
comfortable and they sleep. So I go, "How about this? What about," so we have this little, because my office is on the top floor. Paul,
Mhm.
you've been here.
Yeah.
Kate doesn't want to walk up 2 flights of stairs to like come get me sometimes. So we have this little doorbell,
Oh,
Amazon
yeah.
doorbell, that you just I just got on Amazon. They're $20. You plug it into the wall, and then she clicks it, and it just goes bing bong. She just like gets your attention, right? Rings you.
Got it. Okay.
And so we had that already, so she could tell me when, like, dinner with food, come down from your office. And so
Yes.
I was like, I'll take the doorbell, I'll put it in the guest room down the hall, and
Okay.
then you just use it like whenever. That way, I'm not
Mm.
in your way, because we found that I was just like, they move, I move. They move, I get up. So I was waking up more than them,
Yeah.
and they weren't even
Yeah.
awake. And so it became like all these moving parts. And
Mhm.
she's like, "That's a great idea." So we call it the Butler method. So if you guys are cool, like, not feeling guilty about like not being, on call or in the room all the time, and just
Yes.
giving her free reign to use it middle of the night, whenever. And so as soon as we did that, man, he Like, they were so mu there's just less things to worry about, and I wasn't
Mhm.
in the way, and then she'd ring, and she'd be like, "Hey, I have to go to the bathroom, can you sit here with him?" I'm like, "Cool," and if he was awake or just fed or whatever, I'd hold
Yeah.
him, and I'd put him back to sleep, and then he started to take the bassinet, so she kinda just moves him in and out, as she feels comfortable, but she has both options now, she didn't have to worry about me,
Oh,
and
co-sleeping and bassinet
yeah,
type deal? Yeah.
there's nights when it's a little tougher, and there's other nights where he just is out in the bed. He just doesn't like, and they don't need to co-sleep at all. And when that
Yes.
happens, she sleeps for 2 or 3 hours thing, so she can get up to 9 hours of sleep, and I sleep almost normal in the other room. So if she's having a tough night, at least I'm rested the next day, so I can take him and she can sleep
Yeah.
during the day. And so this whole thing is like, wait, one of us is going to get a good night's sleep no matter what,
Mm.
or both of us.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it has been like we are both sleeping 7 plus hours a night, and so is he. So it's like, this is awesome. So everyone should do
This
this.
is
Buy the
awesome.
little doorbell if you guys have a
Everyone should
guest room or couch or somewhere,
Yeah.
and then just dudes,
Yeah.
they're breastfeeding and they have to do that. You can't do that. There's something about it. You cannot do
Yeah.
that. uh, then just say, "Hey, if you need me, you call me and I come no matter what. No
Mhm.
questions asked. Do whatever you need. Change him, whatever. If you don't want to change him at all, I'll come and change him." And suddenly she's like, "I got it." And she just does it. She like lets you skip one
So I'm
every once in a while.
understanding you guys are in different rooms, right?
Yes, we're
Yes.
asleep in
Okay.
different rooms. I'm just down the
Yes.
hall, but she has the little thing next to her bed. She can ding dong it whenever she wants.
Ding
And
dong.
I say bing bong, but it's great. It's like
Nice, dude.
it just worked really, really well right away, and I was like, "This is a great plan." I just think that people don't really think about it as an option.
Sure. Yes.
And
100%.
obviously it takes conversation, and you guys gotta be there's gotta be a level of trust there that you're gonna come when the bing bong goes off. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
but,
I would
if you
definitely not hear it somehow.
that's the thing, I'm a light
Yeah.
sleeper too, so that's helpful. Like, I already dude, I already get up like, I'm beating them, I'm waking up to use the restroom. I've always been that way.
Mhm.
And I've added going to the bathroom and then walking down the hall and just
My
peeking in. "You guys good?
Oh, okay, nice. Just
They're
peek
both
in.
out?
Yeah.
Okay, back to my room."
Cool.
Like, and
My gosh.
it's
That's
awesome.
great. I'm glad you guys found a system. That's really awesome. I feel
Yeah,
like in the beginning with the first kid, like systems are not often there. Like by the second kid, you're like, all right, we know what we're doing. But you guys have already got it down for the first.
and it kinda just came, we didn't premeditate. I was like, "What if we try this?" And she's like, "Huh." And, it
Yeah.
has been wonderful, for our psyches, and, a great way to, like, you can also rotate, especially as they get older. Then the other
Yeah.
room is, like, next to what when he's sleeping in by himself in his room,
Hmm.
it's next door. So, like, one of us I can say, "Kate, we got bottles. You don't get up at all tonight. You got school tomorrow or whatever. I got it."
Yeah.
And I can just be the person on call and
Very
be
good.
the nurse, and it's just a good situation. Now I understand everyone doesn't have like a guest room and all, but if you can mix it
Yeah.
up
You
to
can
get
swing it.
yourselves, yeah, get someone well rested, it'll make
Hmm.
you so much happier. And I understand that's
Oh,
easier
dude.
said than done. This is a way that might work.
Freaking love it, man.
Get a doorbell.
Freaking love it.
Get a doorbell.
Eh, oh my gosh. And 4 hours of labor, right? Just 4 hours,
Yeah, in and out.
4 hours of labor. In and out. Done.
And we did do, we mentioned, I don't think Kate, yeah, Kate doesn't matter. It doesn't mind. We did do a home birth too. So that's it was
Yeah.
natural, full natural, no pain at all, no pain meds at all. So
She did any pain meds with a
no, she is a
Did
badass. Can we just say,
did we
right?
say how heavy the baby is? Do we say how big the baby is? Do
The
you
baby
say?
was 9 pounds, 9 ounces.
Mother of God.
She crushed it. Like literally,
With
I had this
no pain meds. Woo!
overwhelming feeling when she was holding him
Yeah.
to go out into the front of my house
Yeah.
and be like, "My wife is sick!" Like, just like we just won the like one like a wide receiver just scored a touchdown, the game winning touchdown.
Yeah.
"Ah!" Like
Yeah.
I just wanted to. I was jacked up. I was so
Dude,
proud of her. She
that's amazing.
crushed it to the point where
Jeez.
our midwives team was like, "Jesus, like, dang, like we're gonna tell whatever you guys are doing. We're gonna tell everyone to do this, whatever you do." Okay,
Whatever you guys are
but
doing.
she was like
Oh my gosh.
prepped all get out. It was amazing. It was crazy, obviously.
That's so
That's
great,
insane.
man.
It's insane, but it was best day of my life. And I don't it's not it'll never be topped. I'm so and then
Yeah.
immediately I just turned into like, "Oh, okay, laundry, this, that, bringing the food every day in the tray and showing up as Kate
Yeah.
woke up, and she was, like, beaming and happy, and I was like, "I love this. I love doing this so much. I feel like I have a purpose.
Aw.
It's not just me figuring out how I'm gonna do the next YouTube video. I actually, am taking care of, somebody
Yeah.
that isn't me." So
That's right, dude.
I'm over the moon, man. I'm super
I
excited.
I'm ecstatic for you, dude. I love it. I love it so much. I'm so glad you get to kind of participate in this in the brotherhood of fathers.
Mm.
It's very, very cool, dude. And I can talk about dad stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I can't wait to ask you questions all the time.
Oh
So what do
gosh,
you
I can't wait to
do when
not
you
have
go to
the
sleep?
answers. Be like, I don't know, dude. I just freaking I don't know.
But, my parents came over today. They sat there with us in the living room for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and my
You
mom
wow,
held him.
counted.
Well, my mom held him the whole time, and he did not wake up once. I'm like,
Jeez.
"Dude, like, you gotta do a trick, man. We got Emma and Papa here. Like, you gotta do
Gotta
a trick."
perform. Come on. Wake up.
He, like, opened one eye, like, twice. He was like, no, I'm not getting up."
Dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, I mean, come on, everybody in the Discord. If you hear this one, you know what I mean. Wish our new Papa,
Yeah.
Trevor, frickin' gets a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and sleeps in the guest room. May
Yeah.
a happy Father's Day that just happened. And happy
Yeah.
birth of her son.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come on,
So,
Madsen
that's
May.
that's what I have going on. That's it.
Yeah, mine's not. Mine's stupid compared to that.
So what games have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing World of Warcraft again. I got
Yes.
sucked in. Yeah,
Is
hard
it
left turn.
is the new one
Yeah.
good? Or is it like, are you playing the old, classics?
I'm playing the new one, and I played a little bit of Dragonflight as I was kind of like leveling,
Mhm.
and that was actually pretty cool. I like that. Didn't finish the
Sounds like
story, but I started a little bit in the intro zone. Got to level 70, moved on to the War Within, the new expansion, and pretty freaking good, man. Pretty freaking good. I like the story. I think it's cool, and I've been using an add-on that takes all the headache out of like, what do I have to go for this questing and like that, like it just streamlined it, lines it.
Ooh, which one?
Um, what's it called? It is Dreads. Shout out to Dreads. Sent it to me. Of course, I can't freaking find it. He sent me a bunch of add-ons. He was like, "You're gonna need these."
mm,
Oh, here it is. DBM, obviously, handy
mhm.
notes, platter, weak auras. Um, it's called Rested XP.
Ah,
Rested XP is the leveling add-on.
ooh,
It's outstanding.
really?
If you were like, "Oh, I want to get this armor set," it will tell you how to get it. If you are like, "Oh, I want to get this thing," like it'll tell you how to get this rep to get this thing. Like it does it all for you.
So
Um,
you can almost like like, so if you're grinding a rep or whatever, can you like does it like track your progress too?
yeah, yeah,
It's
it'll
almost
tell you
like
where you're
you
at.
make special quests for yourself.
Yes, yeah, you
Oh
can make
my
your
god.
own guide. You can download other guides. Like it's kind of open source community stuff. You can buy a like they sell. I think it was like 20 or 30 bucks. Like, hey, I want the because it's 70 to 80 now. 80 is the max level. 70 to 80. I'm horde. This is what I want to play.
Mhm.
Give me the best leveling. So that is paid, but they have a ton of free leveling guides that aren't right now War Within. So I think they charge for like the new expansion every time, which is like I get it. Like it's a pretty in-depth add-on,
Yeah.
like whatever.
I
Um
mean, that's a headache. Like some
it
people just like
yes.
to wander around and do it, but you don't have
And
time
it's
for
like
that, right?
and it's very specific. It's not just like go here, click this. It's like, hey, you're gonna want to do this, and you're gonna want to click on this. Also, just so you know, this spell's an AOE spell. Like it just tells you, like, oh, that's helpful information. I'm
Oh,
glad I know
really?
that. So yeah,
Huh.
very, very cool.
So,
So yeah, I've been playing a little World of Warcraft, man. Getting back to my roots. It's been really, really nice.
yeah.
It's been fun.
What's the max level now?
80. It's back up to 80.
Oh, I don't even know when it went back. Oh yeah, never mind. They reset it in Dragonflight. No, before.
No, before, yeah.
What was the one before that?
Um,
The one we all played?
Shadowlands.
Shadowlands, they
I
reset
think
it.
that's when they reset it.
Yeah. 50 or whatever.
It was like level 120. I'm like, we're getting insane here. This
Yeah,
is
we
getting
can't get
crazy.
into 200s here. Like this
No.
is well now there's like they have like they went full Marvel. They're like, all right, phase 4 is these 4 games.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah,
Uh,
what's it called? We're in the World Soul saga. Because
oh, so
everything's a
we're now talking
saga.
about the souls. Okay. That's
Yeah,
bigger.
World Soul Saga. Yeah, it's
That's cool.
cool.
That's really cool.
Um yeah, it's great because now they're like addressing all the plot holes that they had before, which is great. Like that giant sword that was sticking out of syphilis? Syphilis.
Syphilis. Really hard
Syphilis.
to say.
Yeah, it is very hard to say. So they're like addressing that, and anyway, yeah, that's my news. I've been into that recently, and it's been fun.
I have been playing one game,
Oh, whoa, what have you been playing? What? While
Stardew
having a
Valley.
baby? What?
Yeah, well, I have the
Oh,
stream
fair
Steam
enough.
Deck. So
Yeah, yeah,
when he was sleeping and we were just hanging out in the room together, I was like, "I'll play for an hour." And she's like,
yeah.
"Great, sounds good." And she played on her Switch. So, um, yeah, a
Love
little
that.
Stardew,
Ooh, Stardew
grinding
Valley,
that out.
man. Oh my
It's a good game,
goodness.
man. It's a great game, actually. I'm
I
cozy
can't get
game,
into
so
it. I don't know. I don't know what it
it's
is.
just got you got to be. It's super cozy. Like it's not a. There's not maybe not enough stakes. World of Warcraft is cozy as well, but
Yeah.
it can also be higher stakes if you want it to be.
Oh, quick note on World of Warcraft too, by the way. They made
Mhm.
it very dad friendly because there's
Oh,
like this new thing called delves, where you go in solo and like an NPC kind of guides you through the process, but like you do kind of like a story driven dungeon. And then
ooh,
there's full on dungeons with NPCs. You can do a full dungeon with NPCs. Like there's a healer and a damage and a tank. And it's like, do you want to lead and pull things or do you want the tank to do it? It's like, I want the tank to do it. Like it's great.
I mean, does it work well? Is the
So
question.
far, it
Yeah.
worked really well, actually.
Everyone's playing DPS in that, by the way. Like nobody's.
Oh, 100%.
Finally, I get to be a deeps.
Yeah, exactly. No one's playing healer
I'm
on that.
destroying these.
Yeah.
The I'm destroying the damage meters because the NPCs are NPCs.
Well, it's also a really good way to learn the dungeon before you like go into a dungeon finder or something and everyone's like, look at this idiot, doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh yeah, you can see the fight.
Yeah.
And there's no stakes. You can just go like even if
Zero
your
stakes.
NPCs are getting destroyed, you're like, well, at least I know what happens, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. Well,
It's cool.
yeah. Look at us dads.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're both dads. It's crazy.
Look at that.
No more dad jokes. Haha, you're a dad. I'm a dad. So now Pete's on the outside looking in. That's why we do this pod, you and me now.
That's right.
Um, just so everyone knows, by the way, Pete. I know he's your favorite, guys, but Pete,
He's your favorite. Yeah.
Pete has work in the college football space. His college football time.
Yep.
And Vanderbilt just beat Alabama, so I'm sure he's all over that.
Mhm.
And who knows how good Oregon State is? I don't care. So yeah, he's got a lot going on. So it's Paul and I. Paul and I, we're
Ayo.
here. It's us. And we have a movie for you today. A
That's
good one,
right.
a real good one. A
Yeah.
recent movie. This is a second one we've done where there's potential spoilers. This did come out earlier this year, so and it has actually been on streaming. It was on maybe Hulu. It was on somewhere for free for a while. It might still be. Where did you
Oh,
watch it?
was it? Okay.
Did
I
you
watched
did
it on
you rent it?
HBO.
Okay, so
Yeah. Well, Max, whatever it's called.
Max. Okay, so if you didn't see it, I don't blame you. So just spoiler: this may happen in this. Well, they are going to happen in this
Yeah.
show because we watched Alex Garland and A24's new movie in 2024, Civil War,
Yes.
and I watched it. I brushed up on it again. I watched it like literally 3 weeks ago or something
Oh,
before you
okay.
even mentioned it.
That's funny.
But you wanted to watch this one, so
I
we will
did.
get in that in a moment. I would love to hear your thinking behind that, but I'll give you a quick synopsis of the movie for those of you that are not familiar. And Alex Garland, this is kind of his lane, so you'll understand all of his movies are kind of this type of thing. So, in a dystopian near future, the United States is embroiled in a second civil war after multiple states attempted to secede. The film follows a team of war journalists racing to document the final battles as the government loses its grip on power. As they travel through the war-torn landscape, they must navigate perilous combat zones where the forces of rebellion and remnants of the federal government clash with the fate of the nation. Very well put. Very well
There
put.
you go.
Person
Yeah.
on the internet who wrote that. Um, yes, and we will talk about how these factions have split up. It's pretty crazy. It's a crazy movie, honestly. It's a crazy
Yeah.
movie. I mentioned Alex Garland. He also made Annihilation, which is the one with Natalie Portman, where the weird bubble uh, appears, or it's like an alien spacecraft lands. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen
Oh,
Annihilation?
no, I've not seen that.
It's pretty good. It looks like it's actually kind of crazy. I would recommend you watching, but it's like a dystopian future. He's big on those. He did
Okay.
one called Men a couple years ago, which was similar to this, but it's more about the men, woman gender relations and power struggle and stuff. So
Oh,
he
okay.
tackles big things. And A24 put their hat in the ring, and the story about how this movie got made is really interesting. But first things first, Paul,
Yeah.
would you like to read us our letterbox reviews this
I
week?
would love to,
Alright.
Trevor. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a half star, so it should be good. By IDWY 009. I'm pretty sure the profile picture is them holding a picture of a piece of meat.
Mhm.
Looks like a
Good
piece of
sign.
meat.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, good sign. They say this was genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I have never empathized with characters less.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. I
You've
don't
you
know
seem
if this
fun.
person had their eyes open while
Mhm.
watching the movie, but
I don't know if they
possible.
wanted to empathize.
No, I don't. I think you chose not to. Yeah. Next one is from Sophie Holsinger. All right. Um, Profile picture has big middle school teacher energy.
Mhm.
Let's see. She says, "You're telling me the very best place for the president of the United States to hide was under the Oval Office desk."
Mm. At the end of the day, it was a movie, Sophie.
It was
So,
a movie.
what are you
Yeah.
gonna put him in some nondescript, like, gray room?
Come
That's
on.
not
Yeah.
fun.
Come on. You can't get the picture that way.
Everyone's gonna be like,
Uh,
"Where even are we right now? What room is this?"
I don't
Everyone
know.
knows. Everyone knows the Oval.
This one is from Axa
Zaza
cool.
Cool, I think.
Zaza oh,
Gza,
Zaza
gza, gza,
cool.
gza.
It's XXXA. Okay. Zaza cool. He gave this bad boy 5 stars, and also Trevor liked his comment, and his comment was, "War never changes."
I think he got it. Yeah.
Thanks.
I think he
Yeah.
understood the
Yeah.
assignment and the point. That was one big, big theme.
Yep.
Big, big
Yep.
theme. Big,
It
big theme.
sure was.
Um, so yes, a lot of the movies we go over
Mhm.
are, there's good reviews, there's not so good reviews, especially when comedies, people don't think the jokes are funny, whatever. This
Yeah.
one is polarizing for a different reason. And we're gonna talk about it because it's supposed to parallel the current state of politics and the conversation and whatever, and give us a what would happen if
Mhm.
scenario. Which, I mean, to be honest, I was watching it. I was like, what would happen if this would? This is very much what would happen. There's lots of different little nods to things that are happening in our political climate that people connected to and either got mad about it or were like,
Mhm.
"Yup." And I've never seen so many people that were like, "Hey," they're like, "You're talking about my point of view, and I hate it because of that." And then there's the other side. It's like, "Hey, you didn't point out that it was them enough, and I'm mad about that." Um,
Oh, interesting.
So there's a lot, like,
Okay.
2 sides, this the let's just say, the 2 very opposite sides of the political spectrum
Mhm.
were unhappy. A lot of people were kinda, like, put off and didn't think either they didn't think they hit it hard enough, the themes, or they felt attacked, generally.
That's interesting.
And I read
Okay.
a lot of reviews, and that was just generally so when this movie came out, I was like, is it good?" And that was the discourse. I was like, "Okay, none of you are talking about the movie. I wanna know about the how the movie is." And it took a while to dig where people could put that stuff aside and just talk about, like, the cinematography and how the story was told and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, it was really that's really interesting, just and it's a great, I don't know, example of the theme that we're gonna talk about here. So let me give you a little bit of stats on this movie. It's a came out in April 26th of this last year.
Mhm.
It was in theaters for a little bit and then went straight to streaming where I watched it. A lot of people mentioned that in the theaters it was even crazier, as you can imagine,
Oh.
because the sound design is
Oh,
insane.
true. Yes.
So, and I watched it at home and I was like, dude, if I were in like IMAX or something,
Oh,
oh my
man.
god, it would actually probably be too I probably rile me up too much. I would probably have to
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
break, because the sound design's so good. It was a $50 million budget, which is A24's biggest, production to date. Now A24, for those
Whoa.
are you familiar with A24? Like, a
Somewhat.
a little bit of the short they're behind a lot of really good movies lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've kind of bridged the gap between, like, fully independent films and, like,
Mhm.
big budget movies. Uh,
They seem
uh
to have done that. Yeah.
And they're
They're their own
trying
studio.
to they're trying to find a way to get like, they're not like, "Hey, we wanna do all these, all this IP stuff." They're like, "Let's do original stuff." So they're focused really heavily on, like, getting good scripts and getting them made,
Mhm.
and they have good funding, but it's not crazy. Like, $50 million, that's a lot of money, but,
It
like
is.
Endgame was 350 million, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
7 times the budget. So, and that's not even their biggest movie. So so, like, you just put it
Yeah.
to put it in perspective, they are still a very small production company, but they have hit on a lot of good stuff. And that A24, like, that kinda cinematography, the really, like, saturated, like, I don't know, it's very horror. They have horror adjacent, everything really is, even the
It
comedies.
is. Yeah,
Um
unsettling. Yeah.
Unsettling, but, like, really unique, and I love it. It makes me it's like it feels like a young new crop of there's a lot of first time directors and stuff. Alex Garland's not a first time, and that's why him matching up with A24 was actually big, because A24 is kinda small for Alex Garland. Like, he was a little bigger than
Oh,
the company.
okay. I didn't realize
So,
that.
this is a big get. That's why it kinda was a big deal. It ended up making 122 million, so good. That's a good they're very happy with that.
Yeah.
I believe that's their highest one of their highest, if not the highest grossing movies as well. It's one of 22 as of right now. So it's a double. They made their money back, which is great.
Beautiful.
In the movie of Kirsten Dunst, yes, that Kirsten Dunst,
That's right.
bring it on. As Lee Smith, a photojournalist, Wagner Mora, Joel, who you may know him from Narcos. He is Pablo Escobar. Um,
I was like, where is this dude from? That's wild.
And not to
Okay.
be confused with, Pedro Pascal, who was also in Narcos.
That's right.
So they were in Narcos together, but, and he
Well,
is also in,
dude.
Donald Glover's new show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He is in that as well, and he's great. So,
Damn. I still have
he's
to watch
great.
that. Okay.
Love Joel. He's a good character. Spaney, I believe her name is Jessie Collin. She's the young aspiring photographer. I haven't seen her in much. I do believe she's been in some smaller stuff, but, I couldn't name any of it. Stephen McKinley Henderson, Sammy, the older veteran, also seen him in Dune as the right hand man to Duke Leto. Um,
Mhm.
and he is great. Nick Offerman's the president. Hell yes, love me some Ron Swanson. Sonia Mizuno as Anya, the British reporter that's embedded with the military forces who they see at the end, and Jefferson White as Dave, Anya's cameraman. So, big heavy hitters in the movie.
Yeah, really are.
They got a lot of people in it. I loved it. I loved it a lot. But the reason this movie got made, I really want to touch on this stuff, and then we'll just
Yeah.
fire right in. So Garland wanted to make this movie for a couple years. It was in development since 2021. He wanted it to be a new one. So he made Annihilation and Ex Machina. So I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen
I
Machina?
actually haven't, dude. I haven't. I want
Just
to.
phenomenal. And
Ugh.
that is tackling the role that AI is going to play and whatever. And now that we've actually had AI become pretty popular, a lot of the stuff is kind of right.
Oh boy.
So it's crazy. It's creepy now. It was creepy then in 2015 when it came out, but it's creepy now. So
Ugh.
check it out. It's not like creepy in like a scary way. It's just like eerie,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So very, unsettling, like this movie was. The key motivation for Garland to make this film, but it's not only timely but reflective of the contemporary anxieties around politics right now, right? So,
Sure.
we've heard the word civil war kind of thrown around discourse. I don't think very as seriously as maybe some media would like you to know, which is another theme in this, but still, it's being thrown around a little bit. And he wanted to
Mhm.
say, okay, so what would that look like? And that was kind of the point, and it was kind of hard to do that subject matter justice for very clear reasons, because as we know, Hollywood is known for its bias to one side.
Sure.
And he really wanted to avoid that, which I understand, because he wanted it to be taken seriously. There's enough, like, oh, this guy's bad and this guy's good going on there.
Yeah.
We wanted to see more of the nuance, and that's why he went with the journalist, which I thought was great. Great idea.
Yeah.
And then also, journalists are supposed to be neutral, as
Mhm.
we're going to see in the movie. It's not necessarily true, but they get access, so they'll be able to see things. So he also had a lot to play with there. But it was bold. It was kind of scary, and that's why him going to A24 happened. And then they were like, "Hell yeah, let's do it," because they're all about this. So it was very much like a very opportune moment for these two to
Mhm.
come together to make this, and then the style kind of fit in their style as well. So it just so happened that they're on the rise, he's on the rise, and they got this thing done, which I think is super super cool. And him going with Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kaylee Spaney, and Nick Offerman, like they were all gung ho for the project. Um, he had them in mind, and they were like, let's do it. So uh, it just kind of happened to happen quick. Um, Lee Smith is modeled after the real life World War II photographer Lee Miller. Uh,
Oh, they reference. Okay.
so yeah, so it's like she is supposed to be like, or she's like, oh, he's a favorite, he's everyone's favorite photographer. She's supposed to be that person, um,
Gotcha. Okay.
or the I guess the modern version. So,
Yes.
and then I did not know this. Jesse Plemons, who is Matt Damon's lookalike, the guy with the red sunglasses.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, he's Kirsten Dunst's real life husband. Didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
And he brought in last minute to be the scary guy that he plays so well. You may remember him as Todd from Breaking Bad. Same thing. You're
Oh
like,
yeah.
that guy's a serial killer. And he's also in season of Fargo. Same thing. Like every time I see this guy in a movie,
Oh
I'm like, oh
yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Him and Paul Dano. I'm like, what are you two up to? What are you guys doing?
Paul
Who are you
Dano.
plotting to murder?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? They're so good at those characters. So I saw him. I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad, and it was.
It was. Yeah.
It was. So that is how the movie got made. That is the theme we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Um, and let's get into categories. But first, an ad.
Hey, look at that. This episode of the May Contain Action podcast is sponsored by Underdog. I've got even more great news as they are currently running promotion for all new users, Trevor. Do you know
What?
that? Do you
No
know that?
way.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. The easiest way for you to get in on this special is by downloading their app or going to underdogfantasy.com and using code MCA. All right? Use the code MCA, underdogfantasy.com, or the Underdog app on your phones. Every new sign up will also receive a shout out on next week's show, baby.
And those are priceless.
Oh, kidding me? The things people do for a shout out, I can't even say. They're freaking crazy.
Okay.
Someone sent me their dog.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna. I sent it back.
Okay.
Even if you've already registered but haven't deposited, you can still use the promo code. All right. Get started today. Come play along with me all season long at Underdog Sports, baby. Claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash with code MCA on Underdog, baby. Come check it out. Come play with us, dude. Come freaking play. Use code MCA, sign up. We'll give you a shout out on the pod. I cannot emphasize enough how big a deal this is for the podcast. I really appreciate you guys being gung ho. We've already got some signups. Keep going, fam. If you've thought about it and you're like, I'm not really sure, like, I don't really know. Like maybe I want a shout out. Like I think you do.
You do.
You
And
do.
What season? We got MLB playoffs. We got football. We got all
We
kinds
got
of stuff going on
seasons.
right now. There's
Hockey's
no
getting
excuse.
started.
Exactly.
Hockey's
Hockey's
getting-
coming.
Hockey's
If
coming.
big hockey fan, some of you might be. I don't know.
Some of you are, I think.
Mhm.
I don't know how it works, but I hear it's a fun sport. Check it out. Underdog, the app, underdogfantasy.com. Use code MCA. Come play along with us, guys. Thank you, Underdog, for sponsoring this episode and many more of the May Contain Action podcast.
All right. Before we get into the categories, Paul, you
Yeah, buddy.
chose this movie.
Mm-hmm.
This
I
was
did.
you. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
What made you want to watch this one?
Buddy. I mean, so we had done like some comedies, obviously. We did Waterboy and Talladega Nights, which are fun. Like I really do like those. And we our kind of whole reason for doing this in the first place, this podcast, was because we're like, hey, we want to watch the movies that we used to watch, and are they any good? Do they hold up? And I do love doing that, and we're not going to not keep doing that. But I kind of feel like I was falling into this entertainment cycle of just like prequels and sequels,
Mhm.
and
Which
and
is the world.
yeah, exactly.
It's old, isn't it?
Like the top 10 domestic films, this is the top 10 domestic films so far in 2024. These are them, the top 10.
Mhm.
Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, even though they had 3, like, even though they got that far, Dune Part 2, Twisters actually did really well. I actually heard that's good. I mean, I'm willing to watch it, but I'm just saying. Beetlejuice, Godzilla, Kung Fu Panda 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Every single one of those is a pre-existing IP. Pre-existing. The top 20 highest grossing domestic films so far in 2024, only two of them are considered original content. Paramount's If and Neon's Long Legs. And I gotta be honest, had not heard of Long Legs.
Dude,
Sounds
Nick
terrible.
Cage, bro. It
Of
looks
course, it's freaking Nick Cage.
horrifying. It's a Neon's another one, like A24. They're doing some good stuff.
Oh, they are.
They
Okay.
do more thrillers and horror though. But yeah, they're doing good. They're doing what
Oh
they
god, yeah.
got some crazy new kind of filmmakers, which is I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, but dude, that makes me so sad.
It's so stupid. So anyway, so the point of me bringing that up was just kind of like we're watching older stuff, which I do really love, but I kind of want to break out of nostalgia for a second and just
Yeah,
watch something new. Like
I
a
hear you.
new idea, a new thought, a new way of filming, just something I haven't seen before. And I heard A24's Civil War was pretty good. Like it came out, like people weren't losing their minds or anything, but they were like, this is like a good movie. It's definitely more serious. And I was like, let's watch a serious movie.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
it delivered.
Paul, do you know what I think is happening?
What's happening,
I
buddy?
think we're just in front of everyone's ears, just really morphing into some good old fashioned film buffs. Like we actually were like, let's talk a little bit about the cinematography. What about the
Yeah.
sound design? Like we actually are really you've been doing a lot of your own editing too, and like getting into okay, how do I this? And you're using these tools, and you're like, okay, well this is the same stuff they do. It just all kind of connects, and you're noticing
Yeah.
things when you edit things. You notice other people's edits. So like
Yes.
I've been like watching all kinds of stuff for oh, how does this like we watched Godfather on my birthday. I'm like, I want to know how this is cut. I want to know how
Mm.
long these like how long was this how long is this shot? Like is this just a 10-minute straight shot?
Exactly.
Um
Yes.
and like I'm just noticing that stuff. Like, what does it look like behind this camera right now? How many people are there? Are they on a set? Are like just because I want to make stuff eventually, but it's also just interesting from that side. So that's what we're like, cool. Yeah, we kind of just like did a bunch of movies that were kind of made the same way and around the same stuff,
Exactly.
and now we
Yes.
want other things. So that's awesome. And I had an I was like, he's he's got an itch and he wants to scratch it. So
I do. I think
that's
it's
awesome.
I feel like thank you. I feel like to some extent, like I always kind of had it to some degree because like there's like that famous Kevin Hart interview where he's like people just hate on stuff just to just be contrarian. They're
Yeah,
just like I don't saw it sucked. And
give
I'm
it
always
ass.
like
Yeah,
when people are like even I'm talking about even the ass ones, dude. Like even like this is kind of, I don't know controversial. Miss not Miss Marvel. Yeah,
Madame
the
Web.
first Marvel
Oh,
uh
Miss
with
Mar
Brie
or
Larson,
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ass, bad movie, but still. I had a level of entertainment. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it wasn't not there. Like they did things to. I was like, all right. You know, like I'm just saying that that little thing exists. I think in almost every movie, you can find it somewhere, and someone put a level of effort into making it, and that I find interesting. And I feel like I can appreciate movies for more than just like was I just loving it the entire time? Did it hit everything I wanted it to hit? Maybe it didn't, but there is something to be gleaned from it. There is something to take
Yeah,
away from it.
yeah.
If nothing else, like maybe a side actor's performance that you're like, oh, I like that guy, or I like
That guy
that
was
gal.
pretty good.
Like, so yeah,
Like
I
Rings of
digress.
Power. We loved the dwarves.
the
I think they're great.
orcs have families. I can't, dude.
But the dwarves are great. By the
I
way, there's
can't.
I saw
Okay. All right. Sorry.
an
Okay.
interview
Yeah. Yeah.
with the guy who plays Durin and the guy who plays or and his wife,
Yeah.
the actors, and they
Mhm.
have amazing chemistry. They're awesome. They're hilarious.
Oh, dude, the dwarves are so good.
I'll send it.
Yes.
So I'm like, why? They're the only ones I care about. I'm like, why do I only care about these? I'm like, it's because their chemistry's good and they're like, they're believable and they like each other. You can tell. It's
Yeah.
great, and
Yes.
they're into it. They're into it.
Yes.
Anyway, we're not going there. We're not. Though I
We're
have
not gonna
finished the
do it.
season, we're not going there.
Every freaking episode. Okay.
But that's awesome, man. Like
Thank you.
it's look at movies. I like this or I didn't like it, but now I know why.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've listened to a lot of pods similar to ours from people who like do this for a living, or like critics for a living, or directors for a living.
Mhm.
And it's either like a great movie, good. There's a lot of good stuff. I liked it. It was a good, interesting idea. And then there's like that was fun. Fun is like, it's not a
Yeah.
great movie, but I had fun. There was moments that were fun, and there was
Yeah.
like, "Man, that movie made no sense. That was bad." Like, that's their 4 kinda buckets, and
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
whole lot of funs,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
You can have
Yes.
fun with a movie and be like, "That was dumb as hell," but this scene was cool.
Yeah.
I wish they would've expanded on that, and then, that's a good I think that's great. I think that's phenomenal, and that's the point. At the end of the day, we're trying to that's what we're trying to do with movies, and we're having a good
It's
time.
entertainment. It's
Yeah, it's
entertainment.
their entertainment. So,
Yeah.
let's get some ratings here. I wanna
Alright.
see how good you are at this, because this, again, like I said, it's pretty split sometimes, so some of these are what you think they're gonna be, other ones, maybe not so much. So, Rotten Tomatoes, what do you think?
Rotten Tomatoes, I think that people liked it more than the critics potentially. I'm gonna say 83. IMDb 7.9.
Mm,
Letterboxed, yeah. Mm.
mm.
Letterboxed 3-1.
So, Rotten Tomatoes, critics actually gave it an 81,
Oh, they did.
and the popcorn meter was a 70, which is still good, but,
Oh, wow.
critics
Okay.
liked it more. IMDb was a 7 flat, which is a little lower than I thought it would be.
Okay. All right.
And Letterboxd with 3.6. A lot of people 5s, a lot of people 1s.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very split. Okay.
very split. It's very split. There's more 1s and
Yeah.
halves than you have probably expected for
I
the
almost
people
want to
who.
know what the ratings would be in a different political climate, you know?
That's true. It's
Curious.
just, I mean, but again, there's no better time to do it than right now, because that's what it's about, right?
Exactly.
All right, Vivian. The
Yes.
opening scene of this, for those of you who maybe don't know, it's there's a kind of a shouting match. People are trying to get supplies, right, in New York City. And we run it. We see Lee, the main character, and she's like just getting pictures of people asking like for the paper asking for the supplies so she can report what's happening. And then there is a some either a bomb or a missile hits the truck, and it's a whole like it just goes from 0 to 100 immediately, and
Yep.
she is like getting the shots and also trying to save the other girl, who eventually ends up going with him, protecting her and getting her out of the way, because she's obviously young and inexperienced. So Lee
Yep.
does both. She gets she's a pro. You can tell she's a pro. She's locked in a crazy situation, and it all happens fast. And not only that, the sounds, like the explosions, are like
Dude.
in
Yeah.
your brain this whole movie. So, they didn't go with, by the way, they did not go with sound effects, like you normally get, like in Heat with the guns sounding like they sound like movie guns. They tried to
Mhm.
have realistic firing weapons. Like
Jeez.
these weapons were firing blanks, and the sounds were real,
Whew.
and they were
Yeah.
getting the actual gunfire, and it
Damn.
is like
I
there's
wish I
somewhere.
mean, you'll run into this issue. I wish I could have watched this at full, like with headphones on, maybe or something. I was watching
Yeah,
it in the living room,
spatial audio.
and I was like, "Ugh, I gotta turn it down." Yeah, yeah, spatial
So
audio. Yeah.
I'll tell you
Anyway,
one thing: this intro hit me hard as heck. I gave it a 9.
dang,
Set
yes,
the tone. I was like, this movie's gonna be intense, and then
bro, yes, it very much set the tone. I would agree. I'm gonna say it's probably like an 8-7. Just because I had a little bit of like I don't know what angle they're coming at this from with like the president. Like I kind of do, but I just had there was some ambiguity about like, okay, this is happening, but what does this character think of this? Does this
yeah,
character agree with this? Does this character not agree with it? Are they just like I had trouble actually reading Kirsten Dunst or Lee's emotions in this moment, but that might just be me. So that's the only reason it's slightly lower. But it was great. Like, yes, it hits you freaking hard. The moment they showed that chick that was just standing there with like the blank stare on her face, I was like, she's gonna do some shit. Like she's gonna
mhm,
mess something up. And sure enough, she comes charging in with a freaking American flag, which was
yeah. So it was
also
Suicide Bomber.
what's that?
So it was the Suicide Bomber, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which was weird. That was actually like a weird
Establish. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to how to describe it. Like obviously we've been conditioned to assume how a suicide bomb would work and what that person would look like, and I didn't even realize I would have a bias of this. And then when they showed this girl, basically this like teenage blonde girl with an American flag running into suicide bomb, I was like, did not see this coming.
Mhm.
And I also noted, so there was biased. That was my own bias I was reflected with there. But then also Lee's borderline stoic response to it. She was like, "Hey, brother, this is gonna happen." It was almost like, "I see
Mhm.
this coming," and then just ducking down with the girl. You know what I mean? She was kind
Yeah.
of like, "This is about to happen. I've seen
Mhm.
this 100 times."
Mhm.
But with an American flag, it was just so jarring. So anyway, I loved the opening scene as well. I thought it was great, set the tone for everything, and I was like, I'm pumped about the rest of this movie. This is what it's gonna be like.
Like, okay, so you nailed it. I think Lee, her, she's stoic, but she's like she it's all comes off as indifference.
Yes,
Um,
indifference. That's a good
Which
way to
is
put it.
jarring
Yeah,
because we are getting the idea that, "Oh, this is here, on home soil," but she's like,
yeah,
"I've been away." It's the same here, and it's the same in the Middle East, and it's the same in war-torn countries. It's the
yep.
same
It's the same.
thing. It's not different, and that's why she's reacting that way, which then as the movie goes on, it makes more and more sense. Then it kinda I feel like it takes on a little bit of a instead of like, "Oh, I'm steeled to this," it's more like apathy, like, "Who cares?" Like, "I can't do
Yes,
anything. It's all pointless. I'm just gonna keep taking photos because it's the only thing I have." That's what it
empathy.
turned
Yeah.
into,
Mm-hmm.
for me, and Kirsten Dunst does a great job.
Oh
She
my
is not
gosh.
as bubbly. She is no longer,
No.
a Toro. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Which that actually is a wonderful segue into the quotes. My big one is Lee Smith says this. She says, "Every time I survived a war zone and got the photo, I thought I was sending a warning home. Hey, don't do this." But here we are.
Yep.
And I was like, she's like, "It doesn't matter what I do,
Mhm.
people won't stop doing this."
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's where I
That
got oh, she's just apathetic. And
that
this
was
is how
freaking
she handles
depressing.
it.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
Which is it's also big, real big difference. There's a big dichotomy between her and Joel, who Joel, it seems like he obviously is messed up by it too. Like everybody is.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone affected by this is like handling it in different ways.
Yes.
But Joel does it with like he tries to overcompensate with like jovial party, but in reality he's like borderline just an alcoholic, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's another quote from him, and I'll just hit it. And these are my two,
Mhm.
and hopefully I don't steal this from you. But it's at the very end, and they have Offerman on the ground after they breach the White House,
Mhm.
and he goes, "I need a quote," and then he's like, "Just don't let him kill me." He goes, "Yeah, that'll do."
Yeah.
Haha, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's almost like we what? Like it's over. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
He approached it like almost like it's a game. Like, of
Yeah.
course this happens, man. Of course this happens. You lose. Like, hit him with that. And Joel's character also is like building up to that the whole time as well. Like, Lee would not have said that
Oh
to
my
him.
gosh.
Only Joel
Yeah,
would have.
yeah, that would not yeah, his was more, like, not sadistic, um, but
Yeah.
definitely one of,
Not
like,
empathetic. The opposite of that.
vengeful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vengeful.
for sure.
Which is weird because he's supposed to be um kind of neutral, right?
Exactly,
It's clear he's
exactly,
not.
yes.
Clear he
Um,
blames somebody and it's not the people he's with.
he does yes. Dude, oh my gosh, so many freaking layers, and now that I know that he's the narco, he's, Pablo
Pablo.
Escobar, I was like,
Yeah.
God, he's freaking amazing.
Yes.
So this is my favorite quote of the movie, and it comes from Sammy.
Mhm.
It's after they get to that, like, kinda peaceful town. I think it's in Pittsburgh because they showed Ghost Stealers right before they got
Yeah.
there. Just some small town in Pittsburgh. And he says well, actually, Lee starts it off, and she says, "You know, it's so weird. Place is like everything I'd forgotten." And Sammy, who's obviously much older, is like, "I was thinking it felt like everything I remembered." And I just was like, like, golly, that is just that just has so many layers to it, and that hit me so hard of, like, she is so numb to this
No.
whole thing that she has forgotten what it was like to even smile, to wear a dress, to anything, to laugh, all that kind of stuff. And Sammy is just so longing for a time that is gone. He's just so longing to go back to that. So he says, I was thinking it felt like everything I remembered." I just thought that was beautiful. I don't know, something about that line was really, really cool, and I feel like actually transcended the movie in a lot of ways. So, that was definitely my number 1, and then my second one's a pretty simple one. It was after Sammy, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, whatever. This whole thing, Sammy dies, right? He bleeds out, and that was just its own thing,
Mhm.
right? Of just him, like, kind of peacefully bleeding out. Crazy. But then, Lee goes to what's the younger Jesse? Lee goes and finds Jesse after Sammy dies, and Jesse says to Lee, "Where is Joel? Like, where's Joel at?" And she responds with, "Processing." And I just something about that too was like Jesse's asking for a physical location, and Lee is giving her what he's doing. Like, where is he? He's in the middle of
Mhm.
processing.
Yeah.
Like, that's where he is. I don't
That's where
physically
he's
no
at.
idea, right?
Yeah. 'Cause
And
that's what they
then
do.
yeah, and he portrays it so well. I mean, Joel screaming at the top of his lungs that Sammy had just died and he had gone through this whole thing. Bro, freaking powerful. It
Yeah.
was really good. So those are my 2 favorite quotes because I feel like they just transcended the movie. You could literally use that in day-to-day life. It's just so good. The writing was outstanding.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, he's processing." And she also when she says it, she's like, "And I don't need to." Right?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was kinda he was unceremoniously kinda pulled out of the truck and just
Yeah.
taken, and then she's like
Mhm.
she just looks, doesn't like there's no words, there's no, like, trying to touch his face, his le nothing. She's just like,
Yep.
"Alright, another one dead, another one gone."
Yep.
And that like you said, like the contrast between her and Joel and how they're reacting. And Jesse is like the whole point of the whole point of Jesse. This is the younger
Mhm.
photographer is to she's learning how to do it, and she has these two extremes.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
whole point is like we need to show how these two people react, and she's trying to figure out which way is the right way to do this to make this a
Mhm.
thing because this is my dream, and she's realizing that her dream's kind of crazy. But she still
Yeah.
wants to do it for some reason, and then she starts to get into it, and it's
Mhm.
weird because she starts to like gravitates towards Joel a little bit, and then she gravitates towards Lee a little bit, and she because but her
Yes.
it's another woman in a thing where in a profession
Mhm.
it doesn't have as many women, right? So there's that. Like she's really pushed and pulled left and right, and we get an idea of like what she starts to prioritize at the end. And there's a really cool scene at the end, which is going to come up in a moment.
Yep.
Which actually I'll just pop right into because we just got the quotes down.
Yep.
Um, when so I had a quote here too that I didn't say, but now it makes sense. Lee says, "Would you photograph me that moment if I got shot?" To Jesse, and Jesse goes, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Oh, no, it flipped, right? Jesse says that to Lee.
Oh, yeah, Jesse says this to Lee. Sorry,
Yeah, if Jesse
I
was
just
dying,
listened.
would you photograph it? Yeah.
Yeah, would you and she goes, "What do you think?" And Jesse's like, "Oh, shit, she would.
Yeah.
She's all business. Like, it's crazy."
Mhm.
And then another spoiler, so, plug your ears or skip forward, 2 minutes if you don't wanna hear this part. But when, Lee is shot outside the overall Oval Office, what does Jesse do? She gets the shot,
Yep.
and that's what she took from that conversation,
Dude.
thinking that, "Hey, she would do this if the roles were reversed." And
S
that's
That's
crazy.
interesting you think that. Can I
Yeah.
what I was kinda thinking of that?
What?
So, for me, in that moment, it was foreshadowing, but she fulfilled it, I think, in my mind, without even realizing it. I think that she had almost like they kind of portray that entire scene where Lee is just like she's over it. She's done. She doesn't wanna be there. She doesn't know how to, like, move around anymore. She's constantly getting yelled at. Meanwhile, Jesse is, like, just out in the open, like, taking shots here, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, the forces are constantly pulling her back into cover, and I think that she is so, for lack of a better word, like, photo drunk or war drunk.
Mhm.
She doesn't even process that Lee died in front of her
Mhm.
until after she gets up and looks back, and but is still just like, I don't even know, kind of like just like her brain is just washed. Like it's just all about the shot. It's
Get the
all
shot.
about that now. So that's kind of how I took that scene.
Mm.
Not saying that's right or wrong. That's just kind
No,
of
no, I
my
don't
my
like
thought.
that's kind of yeah, mine was a little more simplistic of what but like you're right. She was like locked in. She was which we can imagine that's what Lee was like when she was
Exactly. Like
young,
she
right?
became Lee in that
She
very
became Lee.
moment.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
became Lee, and that comes back to that quote. She's like, "What would Lee do? She would be this way." And
Mm-hmm.
so, if she gets the shot, and that maybe not in the moment she realized like, "Oh, I got to get the shot because that she would do it," but like later she was like, "Well, that's what she would have done." Like, I
Yeah.
did the thing, and who knows? We don't know how she felt about it. We don't know how she ended up. We do know that the president was taken down at that point.
Yeah.
So that the Civil War was, by all intents and purposes, over at that time. Which we will talk about what we think, who we think was where, and what it was supposed to mean here in a
Mm-hmm.
moment, which is going to be fun. But that's my scene. That's that scene, and then the one that really established um when she was telling her how to get the shot. So like the lesson was and I can't remember where they were in space, but they came
Mm-hmm.
to it. They were with a they were there was a firefight going on in a building or two, and they were taking fire from above, and they're trying to back down a like a under so they're trying to get a guy to run across to them, and he got hit. They're trying to
Yep.
save him.
Yep.
um and obviously the people they're with, the people that are protecting Lee and Jesse and Joel
Yep.
are more civilian clothes. They look like a private security force. So we're assuming they're rebels, and the other
Mm-hmm.
side was uniformed personnel with American. So like we're starting to get like the American flags are not they're not. We're never
Yeah.
with them. They're never protecting journalists. The
Mm-hmm.
rebels are, which is weird. And that's usually not how it's supposed to work. So
Yeah.
there's
That's
a
true.
there's something being told there. But that whole scene, the way it was filmed, the slow mo, it was super intense. But Jesse again was like, "This is." I think this is the first time she felt like photo drunk, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is being in the zone. Like I'm not worried about being shot right now. I'm worried about getting the shot." And then she gets a great shot, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the moment that she was like,
Mm.
"This is awesome."
Yeah.
And Lee told her how to get it. Like you got to take the shot, do the just like they're taking the shot, you take the shot.
Yes.
Um, and that was, and then I, th- I, it, there was only looks here from Kirsten Dunst. She like saw her do it,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like something that flicked across her face, like, is this? Should I be helping her like this? Like, should she be doing
Oh,
this?
yeah. Yeah.
Like, do I
Yeah.
want her to live the life I've lived?
Yeah.
Because she was grappling with that a lot, but she was like, "What have I done?" It was a little bit like a oh shit, like because she
Mm.
kind of
Yeah.
took a chance to take the shot. She like put herself out there a little bit to get the angle right,
Yes.
um, and that's dangerous. And she's like, is it worth it to do that? Because again, she keeps saying, I keep taking photos, I keep sending them home, and nothing changes. So like this girl is just gonna follow in my footsteps, and she's apathetic. She's like for nothing, and that's kind of
Exactly.
color to demeanor. That's what I got. So like I loved
That's
that scene
yeah.
as well. I thought it set that up.
That is a really good scene. Yeah, that wasn't as intense of a scene, but it definitely advanced those characters' arcs a lot more. Yeah. And again, I kind of saw it a little bit differently insofar as like when Jesse saw that photo that she had taken, because it hit me this way, I assumed it hit her in the same way of just like this seems like the first photo she's taken of someone who died or who was in the middle of dying. Because that guy definitely does not make it. He is bleeding a
No,
lot,
yeah.
and he does not appear in the next scene.
Yeah, we're not nobody watching, nobody in the scene is like beside no, none of the photographers anyway. I mean the soldiers are, but like nobody else is concerned with his well-being.
Yes.
Like that's
Yeah.
not the goal. Like
Yeah.
we're like he's just a guy, which is
Exactly.
kind of the point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just some guy. So, I mean, as far as like best scenes or favorite scenes of the movie, the Isengard movie scene, I mean, I think that the final scene is probably the most Attack Isengard in like its
Yeah.
grandeur of like you're storming the White House, and that's
Yeah.
kind of wild. But I think my favorite scene is actually probably when they confront Red Glasses there. I don't know if he ever has a name,
Yeah, no,
but
he never says his name, but dude, his the way
he
he asks a question and then just goes silent.
is a menacing. Oh, and like that's a thing I appreciated about the movie is that it feels like you never really know. You never really know who is who, who's doing what, and everything. And I just thought Sammy's line was really good too. Of like, I can't remember exactly how it went, but he was basically like, "These guys don't want to be seen doing what they're doing."
Yeah, like, we don't even know if they're even the side they're on is
Yeah,
condoning would wanna know what they're doing, right? These guys might
exactly.
be rogue on even on their side.
Yeah, yeah. You have literally no idea.
Mhm.
So that was a super powerful scene, and and just the I don't know, it just felt so I don't know, man. It felt like almost exactly how it would go if I was in that situation. Is exactly how I would imagine it to go, how people would be responding, reacting. There'd be someone just sobbing constantly,
Yeah.
right? And like, dude, and you know it, as soon as that dude said, like, where are you from? And he said Hong Kong. You're like, oh my gosh,
What kind of American are you?
dude. Yeah. That was a hell of a, I mean, that's in the trailer, and that's a hell of a line.
Yeah.
What kind of American are you? I think that brought a lot put a lot of butts in seats for this movie, just that one line. So, yeah, that scene was incredible, and the way to end it also, I mean, it's a movie, so it was kinda perfect in some ways, but dude, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
This is, like, a really good movie, and I really enjoyed that. Jeez.
Yeah. Um,
Slapping my desk over here, man.
Hot dog.
I'm desk slapping.
Big, 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 yeah, great movie.
Yeah. I don't
You
wanna
know,
belabor it. We got some points to hit here.
yeah, but, we have a little discussion here, and we already mentioned this, about the sound design and, the gunshots and stuff. Another thing that's kinda absent,
Mhm.
so first of all, sound design is phenomenal. It
So
got
good.
raises hair on your neck in a I'm in danger way, right? Because
Mhm.
anyone who's heard actual gunfire anywhere, been to a gun range or whatever, I have heard real life gunfire before, but just it was controlled. It wasn't weird. But, like,
Yeah.
it's not like, Scarface. It's like popping. Like, what is that? Like, that's the first thing. It's like feels
Mhm.
and then things go from like super normal to insane fast. And I can totally see how because the gunfire, unless you're next to it, like your ear is. But if someone's firing like hundreds of yards away, it's kind of innocuous. It's kind of like, what is that?
Almost
What
lulls
are
you to
those
sleep in
fireworks?
some ways, like a
A little bit
popcorn
like
popping. Yeah.
yeah, like, but it's wildly dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of modern warfare in a lot of ways too, because especially like urban warfare, because it's all firearms and stuff. Like, there's not like mortars and it's not just like loud booms all night. It's like small pockets of people with rifles,
Yep.
popping at it, taking pops, and you don't know where they are. You can't see them.
Popping off, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that was amazing, but
Mhm.
also there's very little, like, motion music, like, when they're running and stuff, it's not like, "Ba-da-na-na-na-na-na," like, there's not none of that.
Yeah, that's
It's
true,
just
it's a good
like
point.
it's silence, like, you're just waiting for someone to fall over the whole time. I'm just like, someone's just gonna fall over, and that's just
Yep.
gonna be it. That's how it works. It's just how and it was filmed that way to make be tense like that all the time. So it's not like there's no music and there's no sound, but like it was definitely took a back seat to look how normal life can be for a minute. Like the sniper scene, like the two guys, it,
Dude.
like
Yeah.
where is he?
That was a
I
great
don't know.
scene.
Uh, they're like, okay, so where is he? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What side are you guys on? The good side.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's shooting at us, trying to kill us, and we're shooting back. It's basically,
Yeah.
like,
Are you guys stupid?
simple as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "But what? Like, it's just a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. What happened?" Like, that's kind
Yeah.
of what they were asking. They're like, "We don't have time for this.
Exactly.
It's simple. We're just gonna try to kill him."
Yep.
And that's it. Just like who knows what those guys went through, how long they've been there, and they're just like, "Dude, we're so tired of this. We just want it to be over. This is
Yes.
an obstacle in our way from feeling safe." And that was done really well there too. So like that was all these sound like there's no music playing there either. They're just asking questions, normal questions. These guys
Mhm.
are just like, "Shut up." Shut up.
Yeah.
There's a dude in that farmhouse. We
Yeah.
don't know what's going
It's
on and
like,
why.
"We're press." He's like,
Cool.
"Yeah. Is that why it says press on the side of your vehicle?" Like, just
Don't have time
wondering
for
why it
this.
said press on the side of your car.
So So how about a messaging? Okay, so like
Sure.
I there's a lot of messages going on,
Oh, a
but
ton.
what was the message of the film for you? What did you take away?
um, the message of the film for me is that um, war is horrific, um, and we seem we seem destined for it all the same. Like it feels not that I think that we're going to necessarily get into a civil war or anything like that, but
Mhm.
just mankind destroys itself
Yes.
all the time, and like I mean, on a personal ish note, I've been kind of like following more of different war torn areas and been looking at the journalists that are in those areas and kind of semi forcing myself to look at the photos they take because I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, bomb was dropped. There's this many people who died. Like, okay, and, like it doesn't mean anything to you necessarily unless you see it. What
Mm.
does it look like when that happens? And so seeing this movie with that kind of backdrop was just like I told it turned to tears midway through it. I was like, I can tell you that I never ever want to be a wartime journalist. That is the least attractive profession in the history of professions. That sounds awful. So that was kind of my takeaway from like the messaging or the theme of this movie. It was just like it seems like we're just on a I don't know what the word is, but just bound for it.
Yeah, it's a
This kind of
self-fulfilling
destruction.
prophecy a little bit.
Kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, yeah, in a lot of ways.
At
I hope that's
times,
not true, I don't want it to be true, but
well, time's a flat circle. It all comes out like in different ways, but at the end of the day, like the general concepts are happen. We get really comfy in peace.
mhm,
Someone thinks something's gonna be a way or that it's better for some reason because they're unhappy for whatever reason, and then things get a lot worse for a while, and everyone realizes, "No, that actually is the worst case scenario, let's go back to the other thing," and a lot
yep,
of people get hurt, and then we
yep,
go back. And the point is, I always felt, if war happened in order to prevent all wars in the future, like we talk about, the dropping of the atomic bomb is a prime example of this,
mhm,
which by all accounts, up until this point, has avoided huge, large scale wars in the way that those were happening, world wars. We have not a
uh-huh,
world war because of the atomic weapons, because of
mhm,
nuclear war. And nobody wants that. I think that's still something that
mhm,
you just can't, there's no way to rationalize nuclear war.
yeah,
No one
yeah,
wins there. I think everyone knows that, no matter how,
yeah,
like, it is legitimately shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you're destroying yourself if you do take that action.
yeah,
And so, and fortunately, self-preservation, it still outweighs uh
mhm, yeah,
craziness. And we have that. So
hatred for the other people the other, yeah,
that has been the most effective deterrent we've ever had.
mhm,
Now, has it stopped all war? No, obviously,
yeah,
but it has stopped the entire world from causing devastation on a level that could potentially end the way we are. The crazy thing is, and I say this to Kate all the time, and it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but I'm always like, the thing that'll none of this, we will no longer fight if aliens come here. We will stop.
oh,
All wars
yeah,
will stop. Everybody would stop. We would just be like, "Okay, no, we have another thing we need to focus on."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
all of us.
yeah,
We're remember, at the end of the day, we're all the same. Haha. We're just kidding about the last 200, 2,000 years. This is bad. Like, that's what would happen. Like,
yeah,
Independence Day
some
would happen.
galvanizing, yeah, exactly,
It
yeah,
really would. Everyone
yeah.
would get on board
That's
immediately.
why
It
I
would be
think
immediate.
Independence Day is also, like, super exciting, like, it's kinda, like, builds camaraderie, like, "Yeah, we're all getting along."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's not,
yeah,
we all want that. It's faux funny. Everyone's like, "Yeah, we would love to have a world like that." But, I mean, we can. Like, we can make the it just needs billions of people have to make the decision, and people in power who are isolated from it are the ones making the decisions.
exactly, yeah.
Which is also another, I think, method or message of this movie. So
Mhm.
there's war sucks, obviously, and we keep doing it over and over again. And also is supposed to show us, like, yes, it can happen here, because of course it can. Everyone will be like, of
Yeah,
course it can, but they don't really
I really think it can.
believe it, right? But
Absolutely
like,
can.
we need to see what it would look like if it happened, and how it wouldn't just work out the way everyone says it's going to work out, right?
Mhm.
It's not just like you're going to go have a. It's not a UFC fight. It's not pay per view where it's just over in a bit. Like, it's not like that. it's messy and people don't know what side they're on, which they also did really good. So, but I also like the messaging around like the duty of the press and the way they need to tell stories, and then
Yeah.
how different sides felt about them, and how important they are. How important it is to have that third, like that mediator, that storyteller. How important the press is for avoiding things like this. Even though Lee thinks that it's pointless,
Yeah.
it's not entirely pointless. But
No.
it it
No.
it without them though, there's nothing. And that's another I think thing Alice is trying to say is we've eroded our like that institution worldwide is one of the most important things we have for learning from our mistakes. And right now, it's
Yes.
sending a message that we're letting it erode and people undermine everybody all the time. And this is what was going to happen if
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
that,
It definitely
which is
highlighted the benefits of free journalism. 100%.
exactly.
Free
So that's
press.
another one I got. Um, so at the end of the day,
Hmm.
Paul, who are the good guys?
You know, there are none. There are no good guys. There are
Yep.
no innocent people in
Yes.
this conflict. At least in this movie, there's no one who's good. It's just whoever's less bad, I guess. But I don't even think that's really a thing. I would say anyone who gave shelter to the press is better than anyone who didn't give shelter to the press. That's
Hmm.
the only thing. Is like, I mean, they're probably like a little bit better as far as good guys, bad guys. But I'm actually a little bit bummed, really quick, that you skipped the nitpick.
Okay. Hit me with a nitpick then if you got one.
Real quick nitpick.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell Texas and California are joining forces. This is not happening. That is not happening. Okay, just like New York and Alabama are getting together for
Mhm.
their common cause. Like it's just not going to happen.
That
There's
that
no
was weird.
shot.
It, honestly, it was done in a way to like make it like that's the only
I think
way
they
that
did it
they could.
very intentionally.
Well, yes, that's the
Yeah.
also that gives it a little bit of like okay, and also that
Yeah.
like those two states obviously because they have the most power. They're the two most powerful states besides New York State
Yeah.
in our so like that would be a very powerful union. Then we have the
True.
Florida
Florida. Yeah. I didn't really understand what
just
Florida
being
was.
annoying.
Florida was just by themselves, right? They're just like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're Florida.
of course. No, Florida's like, oh, we're doing it. All right, we're gonna be our own thing. We're like, we know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and so that's another thing too. We had no idea who was Florida, which rebels were Florida, which rebels were Texas. So, like, I think the snipers were Florida,
I
but
think
I
they
don't
were.
know.
I think the neon colors were like Florida. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I was getting that, which of course, it's neon, like what?
like Miami
Anyway,
Beach, Miami Vice,
yeah,
type of thing.
exactly,
Yeah.
Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Um, but it was like, okay, they threw that wrench in there, and yeah, but them teaming up, it had to be something insane that made that happen to where they're like, we need to stop. So I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, Nick Offerman's character is supposed to represent a president that would not leave office, which was said in one of like it's in the background. It's like some dialogue. You'll miss it if you're not listening really intently, but
Oh,
they do mention like there was an election, he refused to leave office.
I didn't even hear that until they mentioned a third
So that's
term.
why it started,
I see. Yeah.
which I don't know if you guys remember, but that almost happened.
That almost
So
happened. It was real
that's very
close.
clearly where
Yeah.
that came from. And so the United States of America is supposed to represent the incumbent president, who you can imagine who that's supposed to represent.
Yes.
Um, and but like Texas, and that's what makes it a little bit more believable. Like, yes, Texas is usually, we'd say they just stay, but like, remember, Texas is the one that's always like, we're going to secede, right?
Every
Are they
time.
going to stay with
Yeah.
the United States? No.
No.
So like they were kind of like, wait, you can't just stay there though. Like that's not how this works.
You just
And
stayed
which makes sense. California just hopped in there. No. All right. And then I think Texas took some persuading, and together they might have just had an alliance or something where they're like, okay, if we get this done, then we'll let you secede. Whatever. There was some other
Sure.
things maybe that could have happened that could have made it happen. But that is the only plausible way that there are only two states with enough firepower and people and resources to actually make a play.
Exactly. Yeah.
If
California
it
and
were
Texas
any
would
other
be the only
way,
two. Yeah.
so like if Texas took the side of one side or the other side, then California's screwed, right? So
Yes. Yep.
it wouldn't be believable. So that's probably why that was done. But yeah, I hear you. Far fetched. It feels far
Yeah.
fetched.
That was it. That was
Um,
only nitpick.
But yeah, it feels like the rebels. There's a lean towards the rebels being because they were better to the press more often. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so there is still that like it's the left lean. They're leaning left. They're leaning left a little bit. Still Hollywood.
sure,
But they showed it nuance that it's just people being people, like you mentioned in the beginning. A blonde, young blonde white woman running with a flag who is a suicide bomber.
exactly. Yeah,
Hey, it could be yes. Is there anyone more American than this
yeah,
person? That
exactly.
and they
Yeah,
really he wanted to hit you with that hard, like jab you, and then go on with the rest of the movie. So that's what I got. But again, you could see why now people are like, "Hey, could just say it outright, right? Just say it's Trump, right?"
yeah,
That's
yep.
what they wanted. And then the other side's like, "Oh yeah, it's his. He's the bad guy, right? So
Mm,
I'm the bad guy, and that's those other people that were unhappy." And they have a point. They have a point to make, but
true.
I think it was just to say, "Hey, actually, no, I think you're right. Nobody's really the bad guy." And the point is, things get crazy, and this isn't the way to do this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was focusing less on how we got there and more on if we get there,
Yeah,
this is what it could look like. Do we
yeah,
want this? Is this what we want? You know what I mean? It's yeah,
yeah.
because it was kind of like again, like you said, the big question, like who are the good guys? Who knows?
It doesn't
But
matter.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, the whole argument of like just say it's Trump, just say it's not, like whatever, or all that stuff. That does not. You're missing the point. You're missing for
It's
the
not
forest for the
helpful.
trees. Like this is what it would look like if we let it get here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you're on the side of Trump or against Trump or you're on the side of Democrats or whatever. Like, do
Shouldn't
we
want
want to
this.
get here?
Yeah. Nobody. One thing we can all agree on is this would suck
This
for
would suck
everybody.
real bad.
For
Yeah.
everybody. No one wins here, and that's Lee gets Lee and Sammy gone.
Hmm.
We lost two of our favorite characters, and yeah, sure, the president got taken out, whatever. They still died. So
Yeah.
did they win? No.
No.
Did they need to die for that? No. This
Hmm.
could have been done a different way. So I think at the end of the day, that message rings true and is
Yes.
worth paying attention to and shouldn't be written off because of perceived, bias one way or the other. And again, it's a great example of the point of the movie. It's like,
Yes.
yes, that's what I'm saying, guys. We're super biased, and like the way you're approaching this movie is what the movie's about,
Exactly.
which is pretty good, pretty good. So
Yeah.
overall, final rating, what do you give it?
I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10.
Same.
Yeah.
Powerful shit. I have 9. Powerful ass shit. It is.
Yes, it
I was
is.
locked in. I was like mouth open, drooling, just
Oh, dude, I was freaking dialed, man. Yeah,
yeah, no,
everything.
very
Sound
good.
design hit, character development hit, acting hit, story hit. Like everything was so good, and there was no filler, dude. I saw the
Yeah,
runtime, and I was like, an hour and 49 minutes. How are they going to tell the story in 40 minutes? Like this is gonna be like a two. I thought it was gonna be 2.5+ hour movie,
yeah,
and it wasn't, and it didn't feel like it was short, and it felt like they hit everything they needed to hit. It was
yeah,
great,
yeah.
great movie.
Same thing. I was like, "Oh, it's kinda short," and then I was like, "Oh, my nerves have been on end for an hour, 45 minutes. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough."
Yeah, yeah,
I had
exactly, like,
100 minutes. Good.
whoo,
Keep it
my
there.
heart rate.
So bravo, man. 9 out of 10. Great movie. Great call on the movie this week. I had a blast.
Thanks,
I had a
man.
blast talking about it. Good job,
Heck
man.
yeah. You pick the next one. I don't know, are we still going serious? What are we thinking? Wanna
I'm
switch it up?
I'm thinking something serious or maybe something a little bit more um artsy. Maybe
Ooh.
funny, but not in our like Adam Sandler. Like maybe something that's more contemporary. I don't know. I have some ideas. I have
Okay.
some thoughts. I'm trying to find something that's not too new, but like maybe came out in the last year or two. To give people a chance to watch it or have
Yeah,
watched it without having to, you know, spoil everything. And hopefully some people were able to watch this movie before we talked about it. So
exactly, yes. Well, let's, decide, and then we'll announce it in the Discord. I can't remember if we did
absolutely,
that last week because the baby craziness got very
but we
distracted.
will.
Um,
But we will.
but yeah, we'll announce it in the Discord so you guys can watch ahead of time too, and, come in with some thoughts on what you think, were your favorite quotes and best scenes and
And
whatnot.
such. Yeah, maybe we should just like add a little section where the people participate a little bit. I think that's a great idea. Join the Discord, guys. It's in the description below in the notes below. Also
Yes.
leave a 5-star review and You can review the show now on Spotify too. There's comments. Be
Ooh.
nice, be good, and if you have something mean to say, don't say it at all. You know, we all learn that, right? So we appreciate it. All of your support has been incredible. Remember, MCA Media, or sorry, code MCA underdog, and you might get, not might, you will. You sign up, you put your deposit in, you're in the next show, and
Mm.
it's that simple. So
Tell
you
your
guys have a
mom.
great one. We will see you next time on the May Contain Action Podcast. Bye bye.